Okay, so my name's Charlotte and I am the Stop Smoking Project Lead for your Health Torbay. So we are the service in Torbay that does support people to stop smoking. So we do that in-depth support around products, behaviour change, medication, that side of things around stopping smoking. So hopefully this can be a really useful project to work alongside each other with regards to where you're at with your smoking journeys or quit smoking journeys, and how we can support and how the peer support group's going to help you to progress as well. So I put a little bit of a presentation together, but it really doesn't have to be very formal. We can just talk through things. Feel free to ask any questions or anything at any time. So just a little bit of information around why it isn't easy to just stop smoking. It is an addiction at the end of the day. Nicotine is the addictive aspect of a cigarette. And it does give us that feel-good factor. So when you do have a cigarette, the nicotine causes that release of that dopamine chemical in your brain, and that dopamine is the feel-good factor. So that is why it sometimes feels so difficult to give up smoking. And that nicotine and that dopamine hit is that relaxation aspect. So a lot of people say that when they have a cigarette, it helps them to feel like they relax a little bit, helps to manage stress, that side of things. And that is that link between the dopamine and the nicotine and that feel-good factor. When you do stop smoking, there's some really immediate effects to stopping. So within 20 minutes, you can notice that your pulse rate will be back down to a lower level and a more normal level as such. And I don't know if you know this, but when you do smoke, carbon monoxide is one of the chemicals that's released, and that's something that we can actually measure in your breath to know kind of when you've last smoked, how much you're inhaling, that type of thing. But it is also one thing that is released from your body and disappears from your body quite quickly. So within about 8 hours, it's gone down by half, and within 48 hours, your carbon monoxide levels in your breath are back down to a non-smoker level reading. So it's a really useful measurement tool and a really good motivation, but it's something that improves really quickly when you stop smoking. And then you've got obviously the things that you're kind of quite aware of with regards to smoking. You tend to get that smoker's cough kind of clearing your lungs quite quickly, and that is your lungs clearing out. So as it says there, within 72 hours, your breathing's easier because your bronchial tubes in your lungs are starting to clear and regenerate. 12 weeks is the optimum time to kind of focus on stopping smoking. I think this group's running for 12 weeks, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And that's the recommendation with regards to NRT products, medication, that type of thing, in regards to how long you take them for to help you to quit smoking. And that's where you notice your blood will be pumping around your body better, your oxygen will be travelling around your body better. And even though you can't necessarily reverse the effects of smoking, like on your lungs for example, stopping smoking reduces your risks of things like heart attacks over periods of time. So within a year, your risk of a heart attack will have halved compared to if you were still a smoker. So we all know that it's a good thing, and probably the most effective thing that we can do for our health is to stop smoking. But you sometimes don't realise the actual effects because it's so internal, you can't always notice the benefits straight away, but there are pretty much immediate effects. So with regards to the support that we offer in Torbay, so the stop smoking offer for Torbay is up to 12 weeks worth of support. There's face-to-face or telephone appointments throughout Torbay. So we do face-to-face clinics in Paynton, Torquay, Brixham, or the telephone appointments if they suit you better. As long as you're quit and we're seeing progress, then you can get products, so that could be nicotine replacement, vapes, or medication for up to 12 weeks of support. Okay, and I'll go through that in a bit more detail in a minute. And that comes alongside with the behaviour aspect, so it's looking at changing your routines, changing your habits, trying to change what you're currently doing to try and make it easier to help you quit. I would say the products, like the nicotine replacement products and things, are one aspect of quitting. Changing your routines and your habits and the things that you do day in, day out is probably the biggest thing with regards to quitting. We still have to eat, for example, and a lot of people say that those cigarettes after eating tend to be kind of one of the hardest to give up, bar the morning one maybe. So it's those routines that you're still continuing to have kind of are things that maybe need addressing and need discussing with regards to behavioural support, and how you can try and change those things and make it a little bit easier going forward.
Definitely is the morning and with the coffee, and it's after food. Those two, they're the hardest, I find. Interestingly
as well, tea and coffee, there's something in teas and coffees that make you absorb the nicotine quicker. So if you're smoking like after a cup of tea, after a cup of coffee, there's almost a bit more of a hit. So they're even more desirable because of that bit more of a hit. As well as the routine aspect as well. So we've got a few different options around what you can use to help you quit. So nicotine replacement products are things like your patches, your chewing gums, your sprays, your inhalators, those types of things. So we've just recently changed to something that we call direct supply. So whereas previously we were going through the GP surgeries and having to request medication through the GP surgeries and then wait for prescriptions, which were getting lost and it was taking time and all that kind of thing, we now hold the medication with us as a service, the products. So we take them out to clinics and we can hand them to you and you walk away with them, or we post them out to you from us as a service. So it's a lot quicker now. So you can get any of those products, those types of products on direct supply, and there's no fee for any of those. There's also a scheme called Swap to Stop, which is a government-run scheme. It's run by OHID, where basically they provide you with a vape device and disposable pods. So it's a rechargeable vape device, and then there's just disposable pods that go in the end. So that scheme's still currently running for the next few months, and again you can get up to 12 weeks worth of pods from that one with no fee. Has anybody seen the news around the latest stop smoking medication? No? Anybody heard of or ever used Champix before?
I've heard of Champix. I've heard of it. So it's from America, isn't it?
So it was here. So 4 years ago, around 4 or 5 years ago, it was taken out of circulation. But Champix was really effective, and now it's basically come back but under a different name. So it's now called varenicline. So it's the same medication, and it basically blocks your brain receptors to wanting, liking and enjoying smoking.
How many people took it and they really did stop?
Yeah, it is a really effective medication. The quit rate with that one is around 65%. So
How did they stop it?
In Champix there was queries about the what's it called, nitrosamines. So they had to take it out of circulation, and then it also was in line with, so Pfizer used to create it. And it was kind of around the time of COVID and them creating the COVID jabs that it went out of circulation, and they just never got back into producing it again.
Is it right, it can make you feel a bit sick? Like you take about 6 tablets a day in the beginning?
So it's not that many.
Okay.
So you take, the first 3 days is just 1 tablet.
Okay.
And 0.5 milligrams. And then from day 4 to 7, it's 2 tablets. So 1 tablet twice a day. On day 8, the dosage increases. But then from day 8 to week 12, it's just 1 tablet twice a day.
Okay, I know of people with high success rate on that.
Yeah. So it's a really successful one. Like I said, around 65%. It can make you feel a little bit nauseous, but that's more about taking the medication. But if you take it with food, then it tends to eliminate that a little bit.
So can smoking make you feel a bit I fainted when I first started smoking again.
People do say as well, like if they do smoke with taking that medication, it just like puts you off the taste of it. Don't really like it. People take like 1 or 2 puffs and then put them down because they're not really enjoying the cigarette.
And you can get that medication
on prescription. Right. So if you don't pay for prescriptions, then it would be free. If not, then it's just that prescription fee. So that's up to 12-week course of medication.
Mix treatments, or one?
It depends.
Okay.
So if you're looking at the medication side of it, so the varenicline, they recommend no nicotine from week 2.
Okay.
So you wouldn't want to put in like a nicotine replacement product because it would be counteracting it. If you're a heavy smoker, then you could look at a patch and a vape, for example. But that wouldn't be recommended for anyone that's smoking any less than 20 a day because we can get you enough nicotine from the patches, for example, and something else.
Yeah.
If you go down the nicotine replacement route, then the recommendation is to use a patch and a second product.
Okay.
So things like the chewing gum,
Yeah.
the lozenges, the sprays, because they're like a quick hit of nicotine, whereas the patches are slow release throughout the day. So they work in combination with each other.
Okay.
And if you go down the nicotine replacement route, it's always recommended to do a combination of the two,
Okay.
and that's what works best.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions around any of the products at all?